Welcome to the world of microgreens, a nutrient-packed, easy-to-grow garden right in your kitchen. Today we're diving into the lush, vibrant world of these miniature leafy greens. These aren't your average vegetables. They're tiny, but they pack a punch when it comes to nutrition. Think of them as the superheroes of the vegetable world, bringing you up to 40 times more nutrients than their mature counterparts. Growing microgreens at home is a simple, rewarding process that anyone can master, regardless of gardening experience. It's a little bit of nature that fits right on your countertop or windowsill, bringing a dash of green to your urban living space, while also providing you with fresh organic produce. Throughout this video, we'll guide you through every step of the process. From selecting your seeds, preparing your soil, sowing, daily care, all the way to harvesting your very own microgreens. So, are you ready to start your microgreen journey? Let's dive in. First things first, picking the right seeds. This is the foundation of your microgreen garden. Now, you might be wondering, what are some of the different types of microgreen seeds? Well, there's a whole universe of seeds out there, each with their unique properties, and part of the fun is exploring this diversity. Let's start with some common ones. Alfalfa, radish, and broccoli are some of the most popular choices for beginners due to their ease of growth and robust flavors. These little guys pack a punch, and you'll be amazed at how much flavor you can get from just a handful of these microgreens. Then we have the slightly more exotic varieties like amaranth, beetroot, and mustard. These are a bit more challenging to grow, but the reward is a unique taste and texture that can really elevate your dishes. Amaranth, for instance, has a beautiful red hue and a slightly sweet, earthy flavor, while mustard microgreens can add a spicy kick to your salads and sandwiches. But don't forget about herbs. Basil, dill, and cilantro can also be grown as microgreens. Imagine having a fresh supply of your favorite herbs right at your fingertips. And the best part? You don't need a large garden or even a green thumb to grow them. Now, when it comes to choosing seeds, there are a few factors to consider. First, think about your personal preferences. What flavors do you enjoy? What kinds of dishes do you typically prepare? If you love Asian cuisine, for example, you might want to go for microgreens like bok choy or tatsoi. If you're a fan of Mediterranean dishes, try growing microgreens like basil or fennel. Next, consider your growing conditions. Some microgreens like kale and chard do well in cooler temperatures, while others like basil and amaranth prefer a bit more warmth. So take a look at your home environment and choose seeds that will thrive in those conditions. You should also think about the growth rate. Some microgreens like radish and broccoli sprout quickly and can be harvested in as little as 1 week. Others like carrots and beets take a bit longer, so if you're impatient to see results, you might want to opt for faster growing varieties. And finally, don't forget about nutrition. Microgreens are nutritional powerhouses, and different varieties contain different vitamins and minerals. For example, sunflower microgreens are high in protein and iron, while radish microgreens are a good source of vitamin C. So, there you have it. A quick guide to selecting seeds for your microgreen garden. There's a whole world of flavors and textures to explore, and the best part is, you can do it all from the comfort of your own home. Remember, the right seeds are the first step towards a flourishing microgreen garden. Now that you have your seeds, it's time to prepare the perfect bed for them, the soil. Our journey towards a lush microgreen garden continues with this crucial step. The soil is not just where your microgreens will live, it's the source of their sustenance, their very lifeblood. So, let's dive into the world of soil preparation. Good quality soil is the backbone of any garden, and microgreens are no exception. Think of soil as a mini ecosystem, teeming with organisms that work together to break down organic matter into nutrients. These nutrients are what your microgreens will feed on, so it's important that you start with a rich organic soil that's loaded with nutrients. Now, you might be wondering, how do I prepare the soil? It's simpler than you might think. Start with a clean, shallow container. Fill it up to about 2/3 with your organic soil. You don't want to overfill it because you need to leave room for the roots to grow and the microgreens to sprout. Next, moisten the soil. You want it to be damp, but not waterlogged. A good way to test it is to pick up a handful and squeeze. If water drips out, it's too wet. If it falls apart, it's too dry. It should hold its shape when squeezed but crumble easily when you poke it. This moist environment is ideal for seeds to germinate and roots to take hold. The preparation doesn't end there though. Your soil needs to be maintained at a constant temperature for optimal growth. Microgreens prefer a cozy environment, with temperatures ranging from 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Too cold, and the seeds may not germinate. Too hot, and the seedlings may wilt or die. You also need to maintain the right pH level in your soil. Most microgreens prefer slightly acidic soil, with a pH between 6 and 7. You can test the pH level using a simple home testing kit. If the soil is too acidic, you can add some lime to raise the pH. If it's too alkaline, you can add some sulfur to lower the pH. Remember, your soil is the foundation of your microgreen garden. It's worth taking the time to get it just right. You're not just growing plants, you're cultivating an ecosystem. And like any ecosystem, balance is key. Take care of your soil, and it will take care of your microgreens. Keep it nutrient-rich, keep it moist, keep it warm, and maintain the right pH balance. With these elements in place, your microgreens will thrive, rewarding you with a lush, vibrant garden right in your kitchen. With your soil ready, you're one step closer to harvesting your own fresh microgreens. The journey continues, so stay tuned and we'll delve deeper into the fascinating world of microgreen gardening in the next segment. The stage is set and it's time for the main actors, your seeds, to take their positions. Now, whether you're sowing microgreen seeds for the first time or you're an old hand at this, the process remains the same, and it's simpler than you might think. Let's start. You've got your tray of prepared soil, right? Notice how it's moist but not waterlogged. That's the perfect environment for your seeds. Now take a pinch of seeds between your fingers. Don't worry about getting an exact count, just aim for a small cluster. Then gently sprinkle them across the surface of your soil as if you're dusting powdered sugar on a cake. There's no need to bury them deep. Remember, these are microgreens, not carrots or potatoes. They're surface dwellers. Spacing is crucial here. You want your seeds to be close, but not too close. Think about it like guests at a party. You want enough room for everyone to mingle, but not so much that they feel isolated. So, aim for about 1/4 of an inch between each seed. This will ensure they have ample room to grow without crowding each other out. Once you've sprinkled your seeds, it's time to give them a little cover. They need darkness to germinate after all. Take a thin layer of soil, about 1/8 of an inch, and gently spread it over the seeds. Make sure you're not pressing it down too hard. These seeds are tiny and they don't need much to germinate. Next, moisten the surface with a gentle mist of water. This will help keep the seeds in place and create a nurturing environment for them to start their journey. Finally, cover your tray with a lid or a piece of clear plastic wrap. This will help to create a mini greenhouse effect, maintaining the moisture and warmth that your seeds need to sprout. Congratulations, your microgreen seeds are now sown and ready to grow. With patience and a little daily care, you'll soon see the fruits, or rather the greens, of your labor. Growing microgreens isn't a set-it-and-forget-it deal. They need your love and care every day. Let's dive right into the heart of microgreen care, starting with watering. Watering your microgreens is a balancing act. Too little water, and they dry out. Too much, and they could drown or develop mold. For the first few days after sowing, you'll want to keep the soil moist, but not waterlogged. A light misting once or twice a day should do the trick. After your greens have sprouted, they'll need a bit more water. Aim for a thorough watering once a day, either early in the morning or late in the evening to avoid water evaporation. Next, let's talk about temperature control. Microgreens, like all plants, have a preferred temperature range in which they thrive. Most microgreens prefer a cozy temperature of around 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're growing your greens indoors, maintaining this temperature range should be relatively straightforward. However, if you're growing them outdoors, you might need to bring them inside during the colder months, or provide some shade during the scorching summer days. Moving on to sunlight exposure. Microgreens need a good amount of light, but not too much. About 4 to 6 hours of direct sunlight a day is ideal. If you're growing your microgreens indoors and don't have a sunny window, don't fret. You can use a simple, inexpensive fluorescent or LED light to provide the necessary light. Position the light about a foot above your greens and leave it on for around 12 hours a day to mimic the natural light cycle. Now, you might be wondering, what if I go on vacation or have a busy week? Can I automate any of this? The answer is yes. There are numerous ways to automate the care of your microgreens. For watering, consider a simple drip irrigation system or a self-watering tray. For temperature control, a thermostat can help maintain the perfect temperature. And for light, a timer can ensure your greens get the right amount of light each day, even when you're not around. You may also be curious about feeding your microgreens. Should you provide them with any additional nutrients? The answer is typically no. Microgreens get all the nutrients they need from the soil and the seed itself. However, if you notice your microgreens are looking a bit pale or are growing slower than usual, you might want to consider adding a gentle, organic fertilizer to the water. Remember, less is more when it comes to fertilizer. While daily care might seem like a lot of work, it's actually quite straightforward once you get the hang of it. And the payoff is well worth it. Imagine the satisfaction of harvesting your own fresh, flavorful, and nutrient-rich microgreens right from your kitchen. Plus, caring for your microgreens can be a soothing and rewarding part of your daily routine. And remember, every variety of microgreen is a little bit different. Some might need more water, others less. Some might prefer cooler temperatures, others warmer. Don't be afraid to experiment and learn from your greens. They'll tell you what they need through their color, their growth rate, and their overall health. One final note on daily care: keep an eye out for any signs of disease or pests. While microgreens are generally quite hardy, they can occasionally fall prey to issues like mold or aphids. If you spot any problems, address them immediately to prevent them from spreading. In summary, daily care for your microgreens involves careful watering, maintaining the right temperature, providing the right amount of light, and keeping an eye out for any potential issues. It might seem like a lot at first, but with a little practice it will become second nature. With consistent care, your microgreens will be ready to harvest in no time. The moment of truth has arrived. It's time to harvest your microgreens. In the life of a microgreen, the harvesting stage is the grand finale, the culmination of your efforts, and the moment when you finally get to taste the fruits, or rather, leaves, of your labor. But do you know when the best time is to harvest your microgreens for maximum flavor? Let's find out. Microgreens are typically ready to harvest when they have grown their first set of true leaves. This is usually between 1 to 3 weeks after sowing, depending on the variety. They should be about 1 to 3 inches high, basically bite-sized. The moment you see those first true leaves, it's like the plant is giving you a green light to go ahead and harvest. Harvesting microgreens is a gentle process. You'll need a pair of clean, sharp scissors. Position the scissors as close to the soil as possible, and snip. Be sure not to pull or tug on the microgreens, as this could disturb the roots of neighboring plants. It's a snip-and-go process. Now let's talk about timing. When it comes to harvesting microgreens, timing is everything. The best time to harvest is just after the dew has evaporated in the morning. Why, you ask? Well, this is when your microgreens will be at their peak freshness and flavor. And let's be honest, who doesn't want their greens as fresh and flavorful as possible? Once harvested, a quick rinse under cool water will remove any remaining soil or seed hulls. Just be gentle and avoid bruising the leaves. After rinsing, gently pat them dry with a clean kitchen towel or spin them dry in a salad spinner. Storing your harvested microgreens is as easy as pie. Simply place them in a container with a lid or a resealable plastic bag. You can also lay them between 2 sheets of paper towel to absorb any excess moisture. Remember, moisture is the enemy of freshness when it comes to storing greens. Store them in the refrigerator and they'll stay fresh for about a week, maybe even 2. But here's a pro tip: microgreens are best when eaten fresh. The fresher they are, the more nutrients they pack. So, try to harvest only what you plan to eat in the next day or 2. This way, you'll always have fresh, vibrant, and flavorful microgreens at your fingertips. And there you have it, fresh and flavorful microgreens grown by you right in your kitchen. With a little patience and care, you can turn a tiny seed into a bounty of nutrient-packed greens. And the beauty of it all? You can do it all over again, exploring new varieties and flavors. So go on, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and savor the satisfaction of growing your own food. Growing your own microgreens is not just rewarding, but it's also a step towards a healthier lifestyle. In just a few square feet of your kitchen or living room, you can cultivate a tiny, nutrient-packed garden that's full of flavor and color. It's incredible to think that in just a few weeks, you can go from seeds to harvest, all within the comfort of your own home. Let's quickly recap the steps we've covered in this video. We began with selecting seeds, focusing on varieties that offer a range of flavors, colors, and textures. Next, we dived into preparing the soil, emphasizing the importance of good drainage and the right nutrient mix. Then, we moved on to the sowing process, where we learned the importance of even seed distribution and the right sowing depth. Our daily care segment showed how simple it is to take care of these little plants, from watering to providing the right amount of light. Finally, we explored the exciting phase of harvesting, where we get to enjoy the fruits of our labor. We also shared some tips and tricks to enhance yield and flavor, making your microgreen growing experience even more satisfying. But what if you encounter some issues along the way? Don't worry, most common problems like damping off, mold, or slow growth can easily be overcome with a bit of troubleshooting. Remember, the key to successful microgreen gardening is observing your plants and responding to their needs. And the best part, you're not just nurturing these plants, you're also nurturing yourself. Every bite of microgreens is a bite towards better health. They're packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that your body needs. Plus, the satisfaction of growing your own food is a joy that's hard to match. So, what are you waiting for? Start your microgreen journey today and experience the joy of growing your own food. Remember, every great journey begins with a single step, and your first step is just a seed away. Happy gardening!